Hey guys, Desolator Magic here. Welcome to my second channel. Now, after the weird glitches and reporting problems get fixed on my main channel, I guess keep this channel around, but it'll be the main place where I upload from now on, basically. So you're going to want to subscribe. Also, I don't usually tell people to turn on notifications for my main channel, but for this one you might want to, because if anything like drastic happens to my main one, like some, BS copyright claim or some community guideline strike or whatever, this will be the one where I go tell people about it. But the actual use of this channel that I'm intending long term is just the weird side content. So probably Desolator News Network, the DNN stuff, funny stuff, comedy videos, vlog stuff, whatever, just whatever. And I'll probably upload like once every 2 weeks to it. So you might actually want to turn on notifications for this one, because it's probably either important, or if you subbed to it and remain subbed to it after this all gets fixed by the techs who are looking into it, and my analytics actually make sense, then, you're probably a really big fan of just me or the channel or my non-magic content or whatever. So then you're like, oh, you uploaded that, cool. Or, hey, an important announcement. So definitely hit subscribe, definitely turn on notifications for this channel. And then once the main channel is fixed, then I can upload there right now. It's just, it's going to report all the wrong numbers and stuff. So, whatever, they're working on it. Hopefully they fix it by December. That'd be nice. But then, yeah, I think everybody's going to unsub here and go back there. So, yeah, that's what's going on. So, most big creators, they make like their main channel, gaming or one game or one thing, cooking, whatever. And then they make a side channel where they're like, oh, just personal vlogs, whatever, this, that, and, mixed content for if you're like a super fan. So that's what I'll turn this into eventually. So anyway, pretty big news here. I'm pretty excited about this. You guys know I don't really care about the competitive scene, but right now, pretty darn hard to cheat when it's all gone digital because of COVID. So I'm a little bit more of a fan of it. And, there's a couple people like Bursavich that I'm like, yeah, okay, he's a pretty cool dude. I could, I could fanboy him a little bit, just a little bit. Not going to go nuts with it. So it looks like they may have fixed something that I have been complaining about, and that a lot of members of the community have been complaining about for quite a while here, because it's just not fair. It's been allowed because people are like, okay, whatever, what's the big deal? But a small portion, like maybe a third, a quarter of the people in the Magic community have been like, no, this is just blatantly cheating. And most of the people saying it's fine are the pros and the pro wannabes. So check this out. There's some tournament called the Zendikar Rising Championship. I legit don't know what it is. I thought it was that thing that already happened for $2,000. I don't know, whatever. It says, for the Zendikar Rising Championship, there are no draws, intentional or otherwise, during the Swiss rounds. Players are expected to play until a winner is declared, either via traditional means of ending a match if traditional standard or traditional historic, or via a player's time bank running out. Which, let me just add, that would be suspicious. Additionally, concessions of matches that have not reached a clear natural conclusion are not allowed in this tournament. I don't know how that's additionally. That's just what they just said, but they're reiterating it even more clearly. All competitors are expected to play to the best of their abilities to reach a point of natural conclusion for each match. So none of this, oh, I can't actually get to the top 16, but if you won, you could, so I'm just going to forfeit. Which, let's be honest, it's the other way around. Hey, you can't get to the top 16, but I can. Can you forfeit so I can get there? Hi, I need an easy, undeserved top 16 with one free win thrown in. Thanks. I mean, I get the logic behind it. It's like, if you can't win, you cannot get into the paid prize pool, but I can. Why would you not forfeit? And it's according to the rules up until, well, we're reading this right now. According to the rules, it was perfectly legal to just ask, to just say, hey, do you want to do this? And if they say no, play out the match. Don't sit there and try and convince them, and certainly do not try to bribe them, because that is what people have been doing lately. And that's probably why they made this. I made a video at least twice on the channel, maybe 3 times, when this has been a big high profile thing, when it was found out that people did this, and then it was found out that it was perfectly legal. And I just ripped them apart over this, because it's just, you're getting into the top 16 without earning it. That's literally what it is. Hi, I'd like a free win because it benefits me the most. No, you want to get to the top 16, you get one more win. If you lose, you didn't deserve to be there. It's really simple. I don't care how the math of the prizes work out. Everybody else who got to the top 16 got there by winning. Why the heck should you get there for free? I mean, that's always been my stance on it, and a lot of people agree with me. And it seems like now Wizards agrees with me. So, yeah, I'm glad that they're making this reform. Hopefully they reform the actual rules instead of just the rules for whatever this Zendikar Rising Championship thing is. So get this, they might even be monitoring the type of game end that happened, so you might want to play it out, but they do say the following are acceptable examples in which a player may concede the game. 1, a player is being attacked for lethal damage and sees no means of surviving the turn, so they just hit concede. I would just take the hit and lose that way so that they don't start investigating your game. Just saying. If you concede with no permanents on board, I guarantee you're getting a phone call from them or something, or an email, or just straight kicked out. A player has reasoned that they have no lines of play which they can win the current game and wishes to concede to conserve their time bank. Players have been instructed to concede games in an admin-ruled match remake due to a compromised match that was restarted. So in other words, the whole game goes absolutely berserk and you gotta start giving up on games or whatever. I love how they throw that in because they know Arena's honestly getting worse and worse every time they patch it. And they are like doubling down, then tripling down. I think this is quadrupling down on nailing into your head that this is not acceptable behavior. Are you ready for this? The following are unacceptable examples in which a player should not concede. A player has not played a single turn of the game. They can track this, guys. They can try. It's digital. They will come for you. A player is choosing to concede when it is clear they have an advantage. Or a player chooses to mulligan to virtually no cards as a workaround to not technically concede despite drawing multiple playable hands. So they're going to detect that too. So you think you sly, you think you a sneaky little monkey. Nope, they ain't getting away with that. So they finally say at the end, in general, the goal of this rule is to ensure that matches in this tournament are decided by players completing matches of Magic the Gathering Arena in best of 3 traditional, standard, and traditional historic constructed formats and are not influenced by outside motivations. Players that violate this rule with the intent that goes against the philosophy of this rule may be subject to penalties as defined in the Digital Magic Tournament rules. So it would appear that, they're kind of saying that this only applies to the Zendikar Rising Championship, but they're kind of implying that it's now part of the official rules for the Digital Magic tournament, set of rules. Which would be nice. If they don't change it for in-person card stuff, it's probably exclusively due to, okay, we don't want to rock the boat and a lot of people do it this way. Maybe not everybody would hear and they would accidentally get a warning or a suspension. Or they just know they can't enforce it. Unless somebody around them hears what's going on, which, yes, report it. So the problem with this is you could still throw a match, but if you're doing well enough that there is somehow spectators, if that's a thing, I don't think that's a thing, at least on Arena. If you're streaming or not, but if somebody sees you play poorly on purpose, it would be pretty obvious too, but that's obviously a workaround to this. You swing at the wrong time and target the wrong permanent a couple times or hold a card a little bit too long, you'll lose and it'll look like a natural game, but don't do that, because if you get caught, we're going to have a problem. And I think on Arena they said they have the ability to replay the actions of a game, but I'm not 100% sure. So if they think something's up, they'll look into it. Unsurprisingly, the reaction to this was very mixed. One person just put basically, I don't agree with this, I don't like it. And then another person said, concessions make for poor content, which I'm assuming is what's driving this decision. No, that's not it. And the next reply is that and bribery. And then somebody else is like, the rules on bribery already exist. That's the little gem everybody likes to pull out and polish off and show to everybody when somebody brings this up. They're like, yeah, you can't bribe people, but you can still ask. It's still within the rules to ask if they want to forfeit because it benefits you, and if they win, there's no benefit. Yeah, no free lunches, no free rides to the top. Okay, you want to get there, you earn it. It's just, everybody should agree with that. I don't even understand people who don't. The big problem that some people are pointing out is big name pro players like to throw their weight and their popularity around and say, hey, my fans are going to be really mad if you don't forfeit and let me into the top 8, because I'll be sure to tell them. I'll get on social media, or I'm streaming right now, and I'll tell them, hey, I was about to qualify, but this person wanted to get a meaningless win just to make me earn it. What a jerk. And then you'll get harassed by their 10,000 fans. And they're not wrong. I've heard of people doing that. And that is ridiculous. That's like a whole new level of being a jerk. And that's almost against the bribery rules. You're not offering something, but you're like threatening something, I'm sure that's in a rule somewhere, some kind of coercion or intimidation to get a win. That's probably in some rule. So that's already against the rules. So a lot of people are saying, well, if that's already against the rules, we don't need to do this. No, just get rid of the whole system. People don't like wins that weren't earned. They don't like people getting to the top 8 without earning it. It's just so obvious that they would make this rule, and I absolutely agree with it. Now, there's also a problem with the big name players where they both end up, in one of the final matches, like 1-7-1 and 1-6-2, and they just got matched up because that's how it worked or whatever. And one of them knows they can't make it to the top 8, so they're already done with the tournament. And then they know who their opponent is, and there's an agreement. There's kind of like a gentlemanly, we're both pro players. I can't qualify, you can, I'm out by. But it's with the expectation that they would do the same to you if the positions were reversed. And I mean, I kind of get it. Like, it's a polite, nice thing to do, but it's still somebody getting to the top 16 or top 8 without earning it. I mean, I still have a problem with that, even if it seems like a nice, polite, courteous thing to do. Other people have said going after a win that doesn't matter is selfish. It's a tournament, do the best you can. If you're not out until you're out, if it was a tournament designed where, 1 or 2 losses kicks you out or whatever, or as soon as you can't get to the top bracket, you're out, then that's how they would design it. They did not design it that way. The other thing is like team collusion, where you're like, okay, we're literally on a team together. And then you get into like some, reality TV show like Survivor, Vote Them Off the Island Alliance nonsense, where they're like, but you're on my team, so you have to do what I say. Honestly, I think teams shouldn't be allowed, but if they just go, well, then we're unofficially all wearing the same t-shirt and sharing information, and we're not a team, well, what are you going to do? And also, we're all playing the same deck that we developed together. What a coincidence. I mean, what are you going to do? But people have looked at that whole teaming thing, and they're like, okay, what about individuals who want to fairly win the tournament and don't have a group of people watching their back and rigging games for them? Well, that's not very fair, is it? And anything that's not fair should be removed from the tournament. So yeah, I absolutely agree with this. I don't care what anybody says. They're just whining because they want a free win if it happens to them. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Or they want they're fanboying over their favorite player and they want them to win, to get in easy. So people are pointing out that there is a rule, 104.3a, that says a player can concede the game anytime. A player concedes, leaves the game immediately. That player loses the game. And the person posting this says, I memorized this rule when I played Lantern Control. So you're a terrible human being, but you have a point. If people are just like, I'm not playing against this trash, it's like turn 3, maybe they could still win, but they're just like, this deck makes me sick at a basic level. But I guess, rules can override other rules, and this is more specific than that general rule. So, I mean, that's how that works. Also, that was in the comprehensive rules. Tournament rules automatically override them because you've got the in-person tournament rules. You've got different RELs, which is rules enforcement levels. And they all override each other to the narrowest, level. Somebody else pointed out that if you have a dominant position in chess and you forfeit, that is against the rules as well. So there is precedent for other highly competitive intellectual gaming where it's not allowed. It's basically a no throwing a match rule, which, I mean, if you phrase it that way, yeah, how could you not support it? People are getting real philosophical here. Like, if they want to be respected as an esport, they need to, get rid of this, appearance of match rigging, appearance of letting the same people win every time and all that. And that's why, by the way, in my opinion, they got rid of the buy system. I don't know if you heard about that. They used to have, you have 78 pro points because you just have all the money and time and prize money to go to all these different tournaments. And because you went to so many tournaments and did kind of okay, now you get 3 free wins or 2 free wins, 1 free win, and automatically get inserted 3 hours later into the tournament with automatic free wins, so that you have an enormous advantage. You literally start the tournament with 2-0 or 3-0, and then you're more likely to go to day 2 and more likely to basically get to the top. And it was just to let the same people win over and over and over. I mean, how many times have you heard of a poker tournament where they're like, hey, this pro was eliminated before it was even in Vegas? They were eliminated in the pre-qualifier because they just couldn't get the right cards. Or this happened to sit down at a table with 2 other people who are amazing and they just got, outplayed / outlucked. And that's what they wanted to avoid, is somebody turn 1 going up against some weird jank, left field deck and getting absolutely destroyed by someone who doesn't have a very good chance overall of winning the tournament because they're not an amazingly good player and they're, playing some weird, unusual deck that happens to have an enormous advantage over yours, and you get a loss round one. And then because of that, it's almost impossible to get to day two. You almost have to like win out, basically, I think. So they wanted to prevent that because they wanted like celebrity followings, because they thought, oh, well, look at the NBA, look at the NFL. People are like, I watch because of this player. Like, I love Reggie White. I love Clay Matthews. I was going to say Brett Favre, but let's be honest, Aaron Rodgers. I watch to see how he does because he's amazing. Or I like his personality and charity stuff that he does off the field, so I'm going to watch the game and enjoy it more because he's in it. Or I like seeing him win because I tell people, hey, I like him, he's going to win, and I like being right. Just whatever. Like, it's the whole, fan following thing. And Wizards was like, ooh, we need that, because that's actually kind of a thing in esports where people will watch a whole tournament just to see how one person does. And guess what? They stop watching the tournament and they get disappointed if that person gets eliminated way, way, way back. So they started just rigging matches, and people have been complaining about that buy system, the free automatic win buy system, forever. And they got rid of it, I think, about 2 years ago. It was right around the time where they kind of restructured the pro points and qualifications and how they work, and added the MPL and this invite-only league and that streamer thing, which is about as crooked as you can get. Instead of just rigging who wins, they just made one of them like invite-only. So they can just invite whoever they want. They don't even have to win. They don't have to earn it at all. And some of the people did not deserve to be there. So I guess that was their solution. They're like, we don't need the buy system anymore. And they've since kind of tweaked it from there. And now, like, I think if you get kicked out of the MPL, which you had to earn your way into, I think, then you land in the Rivals League, which is also earned, or it's point-based. I don't follow it. It's so ridiculously convoluted. But at least they're not handing out free wins anymore. So I think this is an additional step in the same direction that's kind of springboarding off of what they already did to make it look fair and legitimate. And honestly, it's not like the pros have that big of, fanboy fan bases, because a lot of them honestly are terrible people. They like cheat on their girlfriends, get caught doing stupid stuff and doing drugs and saying stupid stuff online and stupid things on stream and acting like a jerk. So a lot of them are just not good people, period. So they're just like, you know what, let's double down on the whole underdog thing. People will click on a news story when it's like, whoa, where did this person come from who just came in third at the tournament or second or first or whatever? They're like a nobody. Ooh, let's get all their information and interview them. And people are like, whoa, who's this new person? And then they pay attention. They're like, oh, cool. I can't believe this person won. They've never been to a tournament before. They've only been playing for a year. Whoa. I mean, that puts some eyeballs on some screens, I'll be honest with you. It's not a terrible backup plan when a lot of your pro players are jerks. Now, the weird thing is, the way I'm reading this, which I'm not that familiar with how these tournaments are structured, is day 2, anything goes. Top 32, top 16, top 8, anything goes. There is still a rule that it's perfectly agreeable to, I guess, split prizes, which you would think is bribery, but it's like an exception. And this is very, very, very common at like F&M. It's kind of common at tournaments, but boy, you want to piss off the people watching it. Have the first and second people for the championship game just be like, nah, we're going to split it. Like, if one person's going to get 100 grand and one person's going to get 25, and they're like, we both respect each other and we both got here, we don't want to short each other, we both need this money, we're going to not even play, and we're going to purposely draw, and we're going to split the money. That is still allowed, I guess. There is a very specific rule about prize splitting, and it only applies to like the finale or whatever, like the top rankings, I guess. Boy, everybody watches the tournament till the last hour, and then there is no conclusion, and they just split the money. That's a great way to piss people off. So they said all of these rules apply during the Swiss rounds, and I think it's more like single elimination or something for the day 2, the top or something. I think it like stops being Swiss. I don't know. Maybe the whole thing is Swiss and they just phrase that weird. I don't know. But yeah, when you're already in the prize pool, which means you're already very high ranked and you're in the finale, there is an existing rule, at least for paper tournaments, about prize splitting. Just saying. I think it already doesn't apply to digital because there's no way to do it. And the prizes on at least MTGO are digital. So it's like, well, what are you going to do? I think you can trade them to people for free, but it's like if you say we're prize splitting at a formal tournament, you both get a check for the same amount, and that's that. You don't have to like give somebody your prize money, which then they could just backstab you and not do it. So it's like an official thing that you can officially do, which I think they should get rid of that too. It's so anticlimactic, it's so stupid, it's so greedy. It's like you made it to the final. Don't you want to know how you do? Don't you want to know if you would have won the tournament? I mean, come on. Even if it's for like 3rd and 4th and you're like, oh, one's 10,000, one's 5,000. You know what? It would be really great if we both got 7-5. I get it, but we want to see as fans who wins. We want to see who the better player is. I mean, don't you? So they should get rid of that when they resume paper. And like I said, I'm very sure that it's already not allowed in digital. I do think they should clarify it though, because it's just, I think the section that says you can do it isn't in the digital tournament rules list, but it is in the paper one, but it doesn't say you can't do it. As in, you can't just arrange it in the chat, like, hey, let's split. And they're like, okay. So, like, would you get kicked out of the tournament and penalized if you and your opponent agreed to do that? Nobody knows. Nothing saying you can, nothing saying you can't. That's a problem. So I think they need to clarify that. So yeah, that's the breakdown of this change. I support it 1,000,000%. It's about darn time they did this, and this really isn't getting that many views on Reddit because a lot of people don't understand the gravity of the situation or don't follow Pro Magic, which, yeah, that I get. Even I don't. And I run a YouTube channel about it. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Check out the other, well, 2 right now videos on this channel. Like I said, basically all content I upload is now going to be here for the time being until they fix my analytics reporting issues. Oh, and also, if you're wondering why there's no ads on this video, it's because I haven't been approved to show ads yet. You got to get to a certain size and then they review your channel, and this is a brand new channel. So hey, enjoy the ad-free experience. You guys deserve it for being the greatest fans ever, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.